Recording in progress.
Welcome to the Pride of Detroit preview show. PrideofDetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, the Purrview, as people keep reminding me to say, and I keep kind of losing my brain every now and then. I'm Chris Perfett, the adequate host, at Chris Perfett on Twitter and at Perfett on Blue Sky, P-E-R-F-E-T-T, because we're pushing that here a little bit on this show here, because the floodgates opened a while back, and I'm more than happy to have a timeline palate cleanse. Joining me to help break down the Jaguars game here from a Lions perspective is Brandon Knapp from BNAP at BNAP Blogs on both Twitter and Blue Sky. How are we doing, Brandon?
Doing well. As you saw on Twitter over the weekend, I did get some Bill Knapp's legendary dunkers, and I did finish them off the other night. So
I love
they were
those
delicious.
things.
That there's still S tier when it comes to donuts.
They are. It's very good. I didn't even know they still sold those things. Those sound amazing. They sound heavenly. Almost like a heavenly victory over the Houston Texans as the Lions continue to roll here, pull some real weird magic out of their ass. And looking at the 2-8 Jacksonville Jaguars, I guess the question is that are they going to need more deep late magic into this game? And we're going to break down some of it as we also preview the state of the Lions here. Kind of the big one coming out this week, and no real surprise, but after a bit of a bang up on Sunday, I do not believe that I had seen Sam Laporta didn't practice on Thursday. They had a walkthrough on Wednesday, and he had his designation as DNP as well. We've heard that he's basically going to be week to week as far as his availability as he kind of nurses this injury. So look more for Brock Wright and Shane Zylstra, I believe, in this game, correct?
Yeah. Yep. And I would definitely expect more Brock Wright. I know Zylstra is more of the receiving back, but I could see them using Brock Wright kind of a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, I think the thing is that it kind of sucks a little bit just because it felt like after kind of a slow start to the season, we were starting to see some of that pass catching chemistry really starting to catch on yet again with Sam Laporta. And he really kind of showed out quite well in the Texans game. And then just having that sideline for a while just kind of like sucks a bit. But the Lions have made do with Brock Wright. They have Jameson Williams back. They have their receivers in full force. And I think they'll be able to handle just fine as long as they get some good blocking contributions from both Wright and Zylstra.
Yeah, I would say out of all the games for the rest of the schedule, this is the one that Laporta can miss without us even, batting an eye, trying to change up the scheme at all.
Interesting stuff from the injury report, too. I know Taylor Decker kind of trending in the right direction. He wants to play this weekend and everything. Malcolm Rodriguez also, I think, was a full practice on Thursday as well. Again, trending towards playing, but we'll have to see on both those fronts. But also seeing Broderick Martin back at full practice. Considering that one of the things we talked about on POD Cast was just kind of rotations and depth of what they could do. I'm not saying it's a huge piece to it, but like, what can Broderick Martin prove if he is able to get on the field on Sunday?
Yeah, he's got a few days left to see if they activate him, and I think they will. I mean, he's had 2 to 3 almost full weeks of practice, so he's been on the ropes, been out there with the team. So I think he could definitely contribute on that run stuffing on the interior. He's not going to be a pass rusher at his size, but the Lions do need to improve on their run stopping. So if they can go ahead and get him on the field, that'd be nice to have another body to rotate, give DJ Reader a break here and there, because I know he's been doing a heavy lifting. I know when Reader came in, he said he wanted to, kind of be the mentor for Broderick Martin. So if he can kind of, take the load off him and eventually take over his role in a few years, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Lions are coming up on a very interesting part of their schedule. So we got, what is it, 2 of these AFC South, and the Lions basically start 3 games in about 10 days. We were talking a little bit before the stream about, it's really hard to keep going undefeated. All the Lions, along with the Chiefs, do seem to have plot armor. And I posed to Blue Sky some questions. What do you want us? What do you think we should hit on for this podcast? And I got asked very quickly on the Jaguars game is if this is a trap game. I do want to say this because I love the question, is this a trap game at this point for the Detroit Lions? Because I feel like we've hit a point where I think we've said trap game in various places at least 3 or 4 times already this season. That if it, like, the Tennessee Titans game was a trap game, I don't know, the Packers game was a trap game, Texans was a trap. It's somewhere in here. It just seems to be like we're just going to keep saying trap game until it actually hits the Detroit Lions, and then that one will actually be the trap game, which I find very unfair, very, very not something that I enjoy doing at all. Here's the rub of it. We'll talk about the Jaguars in a second. We'll talk about how the Lions match up against it. This should be a team they should handle easily in various facets, but the big one being the fact they're running a backup quarterback out there. And although I have nightmares of Matt Flynn, no such thing really has to worry me in that regard. But the Colts, Bears, Packers represents a stretch of 3 games in 10 days. And then right after that, you have to play the Bills. Brandon, it is coming up on a stretch where I won't be surprised if the Lions take a loss or two. I mean, if they go through all of that, then yeah, you really start to put them in a league of their own. But that is a lot of football to be played while they are trying to nurse some injuries and work in what they can.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I mean, the Colts, I'm not too worried about them, but it's after the Colts is when you guys start questioning what's going to happen. Chicago, I know they're on a downward trend right now. There's a huge, debacle over there for offensive coordinator, quarterback situation. But on that short schedule, it is Thanksgiving. The Lions have been struggling on Thanksgiving lately. So that could be a quote unquote trap game
Well, and
for them to kind of go ahead.
For the first
Yeah.
time, back-to-back Thursday games for a team. Like, that
Yep.
helps that I mean, like, usually after Thursday, you at least play the Thursday knowing you're going to get the extra rest. We're now going to see what happens when a team has to play Thursday to Thursday after
Yep.
only 4 days rest prior.
Yeah, but at least that'll be a little bit consistent because it'll be a full week. So we'll see if that gives them, the extra rest theoretically instead of it being, a Thursday to Sunday where they definitely get a lot more. If it's a consistent week basis with that, could see something different. It's against Green Bay too. Definitely gonna be a difficult game. And then after all of that, then they got to play Buffalo at home. The only positive, as we were talking before the stream, was that they play 3 straight home games, which I don't think is that common in the NFL, especially this late in the season. So you got Chicago, Green Bay, and Buffalo. All games are going to be difficult. I know Chicago is a kind of a laughing stock right now, but I would be more worried about Chicago than Jacksonville this week.
And I think a big reason why we're not worried about Jacksonville is the man under center. I did have someone ask me that if we're going to hype up the Lions versus Mac Jones revenge game, but I know our memories are short, and we had to really go back and remember, hey, actually the Lions haven't played Mac Jones before. It was Bailey Zappi. It was Bailey Zappi who did those 28 points of whatever damage.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of Mac Jones.
No.
I wasn't scared of Bailey Zappi either back then. I knew his history in college, but then he proved me wrong. But Mac Jones, I think would definitely be a lot more formidable for this Lions team to take down.
I think, look, Mac Jones, I still think if he had landed in the right team, he could be a good quarterback. Right now, though, I think it was a good preview. We'll have to see what he's like in a second game under his belt, getting into rhythm. But what I saw against him with the Minnesota wasn't good.
No.
It was genuinely just kind of like, I mean, that game was a struggle the whole way through. But if you're only putting up one touchdown near the start of the game on, scripted drives versus, and, posting a 14-20 of 22 with 2 interceptions and getting really no help from your offensive line whatsoever as you take 3 sacks. I'm not, let's put it this way. If the Minnesota Vikings defense did that to Mac Jones, I'm not terribly worried about what the Lions can do. One of the things we talked about is the Lions are really starting to clamp down on the run again, which then also takes away Travis Etienne.
Yep.
And then suddenly the whole thing falls apart for them.
And what definitely hurts them is I'm not sure what he was today on Thursday, but I know Tank Bigsby was either limited or not practicing on
He has
Wednesday.
not played either Wednesday or Thursday, so he's trending
Okay.
in the wrong direction. And
Yep.
he's
Yep.
been their most effective back so far this year.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So if it's all on ETN, that team's definitely going to struggle if it's just him. Because I know they have Ernest Johnson behind, and he's not a bad third string running back, but he's nowhere near Tank Bigsby.
And
And
he's
Tank
nursing.
Bigsby isn't.
Yeah, he's
Tank,
nursing a. Oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Dearness Johnson's nursing a hamstring injury himself, I
Yep,
believe.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So it's just like even if he was at 100%, he's nowhere near Tank Bigsby, and Bigsby isn't even like elevated as like a great running back. He's just flashing the pan right now. We'll see if he can be consistent. But Ernest Johnson, we haven't seen him since Cleveland really be effective.
I guess the last thing I'll say before we start getting into some players you want to highlight for this game is I'm kind of shocked that Doug Peterson announced so early in the week that it would be Mac Jones starting, that no chance of Trevor Lawrence playing. Um, I mean, I guess in a regular world, but in NFL logic, I'm sitting here thinking, why wouldn't you try to like disguise that until like a Friday or something? Why wouldn't you try to like force the Lions to prepare for both of you over the week instead of just I mean, it sounds like they're preparing for both of them anyway, but
Mhm.
like, to at least put the possibility of Trevor Lawrence on the table for the Lions to plan around, and he just took that dagger straight away. So,
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to see. You don't see many coaches do that nowadays. Usually they kind of keep that close to the vest. We saw Mike Tomlin do that with the Steelers when they had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields for weeks. So just a little odd for sure.
all right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back on the Purview, we will discuss some matchups. I've had some people asking us about players really to watch. Brandon has quite a few of them. This is kind of a shorter preview for ourselves um, as we kind of go through and talk about what has been going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to talk about the matchup that the Lions could maybe see against their Jaguar secondary and how the offensive line and Jared Goff can get a nice rebound game. That's next on Purview from Pride to Detroit PODcast. Hi everyone. Yeah, I know. I didn't really put up too much of a warning for this one. I didn't want too much attention. I just want to get this. I just wanted to pump this out. I am. I've been dealing with doctors all day, or I should say, I've been being ignored by doctors all day. So
Right back real quick.
yeah. Okay. This is a good thing, and I will keep pushing my blue sky there. I'm mostly fine, thank you, HSW. I've been having some tinnitus problems. My tinnitus has been getting louder. It's also come with pressure on my head. Unfortunately, I have to go to a GP. I had to go to a GP first, and they immediately saw me and said that they can't do blood work on me. They kept trying to also take my blood pressure, and I know it's high, but I know that like it was much higher than it ever should have been. But that wasn't like enough for them to even like think about you know dealing with me, which really sucked. I was ushered out within like all of 5 minutes after seeing the doctor, and all I really got out of it was a recommendation to an ENT and a just call ahead next week if I want to come in to get my blood work done.
And
So
that does not sound like an average visit to a doctor. It just
no,
sounds like they were bothered.
I had never gone to this doctor before, and it was not in a great part of town.
Mm.
Long story short, it was just that it was like I was assigned a primary caregiver through a CalCare network, and I need to talk with them next week about putting me on a different one.
Yeah.
Also, open enrollment goes until like the end of the month, so I am in desperate need to maybe look at my options as well, because if they keep giving me these kind of options on CalCare, I might have to try to start digging into my pockets and finding more loose change to up my insurance to a different network.
Yep.
Because I was furious, like, And I'm not gonna say anything else because I've been really mad on everything. So I mean, the good news is that the antibiotics I've been taking, which this woman doctor just dismissed out of hand, that I got from the urgent care, are actually helping my head quite a well. So I've got like another week to take them.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too, Goldfinch. It's just I don't know. I'm not used to going to doctors, and my previous healthcare coverage stopped being an option in California. After last, they like completely left the California market last year. So I basically like applied for CalCare, which is like it's Medicaid. It's California's version of Medicaid, and this was the one that they assigned me to. Because I went from something open to an HMO. So like I'm dealing with a lot of things, and like look, I'm at least happy I got to go in today because otherwise I was going to wait until December 15th for someone to see me for the first time.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like it's piling up. No, I can't drink any booze while I'm on antibiotics. I've still got another week to go of no booze. Sorry, that's enough of me bitching about myself. But this is why like it's really hard for me to handle anything right now. It's really hard for me to focus on a lot of things, and why I just yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't get anyone to look at me. Like it's driving me insane. All I want is this noise that's been going in my head to go away, and it will not go away. Like even right now as we are talking, it is so loud. It is like it's gotten loud again a little bit because I'm waiting for the next dose of the antibiotics to kick in, but it's like I don't know, minus 50 decibel or so. It's really hard for me to I'd have to like look at a noise meter and try to match it up. But yeah. And I've still got like a headache right around here. So yeah. I don't know. I think it's some sort of tension or hypertension or something. But it's yeah, coming out as tinnitus. So if I disappear for a while now, you guys know. Anyway, let's get back into this. As I said, this is not going to be a short stream. Jeremy and Ryan already took the thunder today. Welcome back, Purrview podcast, as we try to break down Jaguars and Lions. Remember, we also have another preview, First Bite, which you can hear Pride of Detroit Direct. That is where Jeremy and Ryan have decided to go hang out for the Cool Kids Club, and I believe they had on JP Acosta to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is, my thoughts and opinions, and the thoughts of one Brandon Knapp, who is always doing breakdowns over on prideofdetroit.com. So we got plenty to talk about. Okay, let's discuss a little bit more. I think the question I have right now, as I look at the Lions, is the biggest thing is regardless of how the Jaguars are, you really just need a bounce back game for the offensive line. They have not been playing tremendously well on one side as far as pass protection. We talked about this on PODcast, but fourth quarter, the Lions adjusted for it. They started having Goff roll out like almost immediately to the right side in order to extend plays, knowing the pressure was coming. Now, part of that's from the absence of Taylor Decker, but I believe, the rest of that side didn't get great grades across there. And even when Decker has been in, he's been struggling with a couple matchups here and there. So I think the question is, can they have a bounce back game? Because with the bounce back game comes probably a bounce back game for Jared Goff.
Yeah, it's going to be tough though because Jacksonville does have, I would say, one of their strengths is their defensive line itself. You have Trayvon Walker who's doing pretty well. I know he was mocked, or the Jaguars were mocked for taking, him over Aiden Hutchinson back in the 2022 draft. But Walker started to ascend. He's starting to become definitely a good contributor on that defensive line. He's leading the team in sacks, 7.5. You have Josh Hines Allen. He's doing well. He's got 5 sacks. He's right behind him. But the one caveat, which, even though his numbers are low, they still have Eric Armstead from San Francisco. So he's still, a good presence on that defensive line. So it's not going to be easy. I think the line will definitely rebound, though, with Decker being back in the fold. Overall, though, I really think Penei Sewell and Kevin Zeitler are going to continue their, great trend on that right side, and Frank can go back to helping, Graham on the left with Decker over there.
Yeah, I think that will help. If nothing else, it will help keep Jared Goff upright. I don't think we're going to see many games like the one Jared Goff had right there. Um, I believe a lot of his errors were ones that were kind of easily fixable. You started to see more of Jared Goff in rhythm late in that Houston Texans game. Also, just really looking towards this Jacksonville secondary, I'm not really sure it's going to present kind of the same challenge as the Houston Texans secondary, and just in general, I just feel like the Texans game came down to the Lions really getting punched in the face out of the gate and really kind of struggling to, get their script set back.
Yeah, this Jaguars secondary is probably the worst, if not one of the worst, that Detroit has seen all year. I have an article coming out, I think tomorrow, if not Saturday, on who I think is going to break out and be the X factor for the Lions. And spoiler, I will tell you, at least it's Jamison Williams. And looking at everything, doing my research, it seems that the other worst secondaries that Detroit has faced were Tampa Bay, uh, Dallas, and the Rams. So while they weren't that well, they were not well in one area here or there. Jacksonville is not well in a lot of categories. So it's not like the other teams where it's just here or there. It's everywhere they're not doing good. Whether it's yards per attempt, yards overall, completion percentage. Lions had the highest completion percentage, in the NFL. So playing one of the, worst teams allowing completion percentage. So overall, it's going to be a really good day, I think, for this Lions offense as a whole. And Goff is going to have a great rebound game. I know he's going to want to definitely overcome what, demons he had last week and prove, to everybody that, hey, that was a fluke game. This is who I am. He's out of the MVP race. I think you can't throw 5 picks and win MVP. But he was a dark horse anyways, but I think he's definitely going to take over this week.
I also think it's a pretty good chance for, especially when we're talking about the secondary, for Jamison Williams to really kind of get back in rhythm and, shows. I thought he had a tremendous, didn't miss a beat coming back after the 2-game suspension. It feels like
Yep.
this is a place where Jamison Williams can really thrive, especially without an option like Sam Laporta available. I know Jamison Williams is also going over the middle, but this might be where you want to start working out some of those longer shots that we know JMO can do as well. Try to get back in stride there, and just again, you're at home, get the home crowd into it, lightning and thunder, things of that nature, to really get the ball rolling, and you might, it's enough to put out a team once you have enough points going into a half. It's kind of like the Lions have shown you that no lead is safe, but also if they put 17 points on you, it's really hard to overcome that, particularly because just that defense is going to clamp down. It's going to punish errant throws, and it's going to really punish just kind of any kind of unnecessary play. And then you look at the Jaguars offense, and I see a quarterback that hit through, what was it, how many picks in the I believe 2 picks in the Vikings game, and they scored all of 7 points.
Yep. Yeah, to kind of go back to Jameson Williams real quickly,
Yeah.
do you want to guess what out of his top 4 games of the year, you want to guess what 3 teams he had his good games against?
Ooh, okay. So the top, sorry, repeat that first part again. The top what?
His top 4 games he's had this year. What were the 3 of the 4 teams against?
So He's played in 4 games, right? No, he's played in
Yeah, he's
5.
he's had more. Yeah, yeah, he's played in multiple games, but out of his best four, three of them, who were they against?
I'm gonna say I don't have a great memory right now, and I've got tinnitus screaming at me. I'm going
No.
to say it was. I'm gonna say hold on. I'm gonna say Seahawks, Texans, and Rams.
You got two of them right, but technically no. So the Seahawks
Technically,
were number four. Seahawks were
oh,
number four, but who else? Not the Texans, sorry. The Rams, the Bucks, and the Cowboys. The three teams I just mentioned
oh,
that have not had good secondaries. So if
mm,
J-Mo is doing that much damage against those three, what does he do against Jacksonville? He's gonna
yeah,
have, I think, a career day. He had 150 against LA, his only 100-yard game in his career. I think it's gonna be a major day for J-Mo. But as for the Lions defense against this Jaguars offense, Mac Jones is just not good. Just not good. Like you were saying earlier, he could be good in if he was developed better in a different system, sure. But in Jacksonville, I know he's going to play hard because it's in his home state. It's where he grew up. He wants to prove himself. Also, maybe audition for a future starting job down the
mm-hmm,
line.
yeah,
But I really don't think he's gonna have the capability to kind of do anything against this defense. Not that this defense is elite level, but they're definitely a comparable defense that can get pressure on him. And he's a statue. He's not moving around in the pocket.
yeah.
So once they have him collapse, he's done for.
They've been collapsing the pocket fairly well. They just don't really have anyone who can get home when the pocket
Yep.
is collapsed. Has been the big problem of the Lions' front seven right now. Now
Yep.
we do get to finally get to take the wrapping off Zadarius Smith. That
Yep.
could
That's gonna
help.
be exciting.
Ali McNeil just stacked another big game. That could help. I really the meta right now is pressure up the middle, and that's not really Aleem's main strength, but he's shown you in a
Mhm.
couple games where getting a good matchup means he can kind of go out there and do the thing and get you that pressure to just kind of like just shove the pocket down, and then someone off the edge can do it. And I think this is a good chance to ease in Zadarius Smith and see exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, Za'Darius is definitely going to be a game changer. He's not going to be Aiden Hutchinson, so don't get your hopes up thinking he's going to bring a bunch of pressures and a bunch of sacks. But as long as he can bring at least a presence to any offensive line that starts to worry about him, that's going to help everybody else in the end. So that's the bare minimum of what we're looking out of him, is in my opinion, is at least bring some pressure, bring some thought that they have to worry about him now as well as everybody else.
So we like doing the Brandon Knapp sleeper. Before we get to that, though, I actually had one more question. I'm taking this from Blue Skies a little bit. How much chaos do you think the Lions dial up for this game? The Lions have been doing chaos like every game. It feels like it's a very fascinating situation. Um, as far as what they can do with trick plays, but I think it kind of gets overblown sometimes. I don't remember much chaos from the Texans game, that's for sure. But granted, they got punched in the face right before they could come out. So maybe do they play this one just serious, or are they just trying to get their groove back?
I think they'll definitely play it serious, get their groove back, and once they're in a comfortable lead, 10, 14 points, then I can see some trickeration, some kind of messing around, see what they can kind of come up with for sure. That's kind of their bread and butter as a team. You've seen them go for it on fourth down. That's Dan Campbell. It's what he does. Well, now they're also being known as a team that does a lot of tricks. So I can definitely see them doing one or two here or there for sure. It's not going to be early. They're going to want to get that lead and not have to worry about Jacksonville, getting one up on them. So I can definitely see that this team taking advantage of that, though.
Yeah. All right, let's go to your sleeper. To the BNAP sleeper of the week.
Sleeper of the week, man, I'm kind of torn. Both honestly not really sleepers, but I'm gonna just stick with my bold pick of Jameson Williams. Just gonna have an
Mm,
explosive week this week. I really think he's gonna have a solid game and possibly a career day.
that's good to see. All right, things we think we know. I think I know that the Lions are entering a very don't let the AFC South stuff fool you. I think they're entering a very treacherous stretch of the schedule, given how many games are going to be played in such close proximity. Granted, I know we were talking about 3 of those 4 are going to be played at home, which is a great advantage. I know that the Lions' defense is going to probably punish Mac Jones in multiple ways, uh, multiple times. I'll go with that.
I would I would say I don't know the exact statistic. I saw it on Twitter or Blue Sky, one of the two. where Mac Jones is one of the like top most pick six quarterbacks. He throws a lot of pick sixes.
Hmm.
So I'm going to see at least one pick six out of Mac Jones this week is what I think is going to happen because he's bound for it. The secondary for Detroit is loves to make turnovers. The Jacksonville, receiving core isn't too impressive to me. I really think Mac Jones is probably going to overthrow a ball. We saw him do that last week against Minnesota. Definitely going to see a pick six to the house. Maybe Brian Branch. He's been really
Hey, man.
wanting a pick six. So I
He
think
wants
it could
that
be
gold
him.
jacket. Yeah, he wants to
Yep.
keep stacking that career numbers. This is here for one of them.
Yep.
All right. Short one from us this week, but I think that'll do it for us. We got you out here in and out, record time. Be ready for Sunday. Be a fun game. It'll be a 10. It'll be a 1 p.m. game. It feels like. Remember last year when that was every week, and now it's like a rarity.
Yep.
These next couple weeks are going to feel odd seeing it on at what is local for me, 10 a.m. versus what we've had for so long, which is just like primetime games, late games. It's very fascinating to see. Very, very fascinating. But that'll do it for us. Brandon, you're on Twitter and X. X and Blue Sky. Excuse me. Wow. At BNatBlogs. And find me, Chris Perfett, at Chris Perfett on Twitter, at Perfett on Blue Sky. And I will keep pushing that because, I'm enjoying it over there. But for now, we're going to get you out of here. See you, Starside.
Recording stopped.
All right, we're not going to be live long here. As I said, I'm kind of like, my it's starting to roar again, so I'm like wanting to do something else, to be honest.
And we got football
I,
on in 30 minutes, so
yeah, I know.
perfect.
I think it's just, I'm trying not to use headphones as much now, too.
Oh, okay.
I'm
That's fair.
trying to, man. I don't know what else to do. Like, I really don't know what else to do. I got brushed the fuck off by this doctor today. I got
Hmm.
brushed off. Like, I am giving an urgent, like, I need help. And and now I have to wait for them to send a recommendation to me to an ENT in the mail.
In the mail.
Yeah. I'm going to be harassing them
Uh,
every fucking day. Like, I'm going to turn off the recorder before I say something that's going to get me in trouble. I'm going to turn off the recorder before I say something to get me in trouble. Thank you all for showing up. I know this is kind of a hard act to follow when, we've got First Bite on here, and I know